virtual board meeting to order at 7:30 p.m. We're all located virtually in our respective spaces. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Jones. Jones is absent.
No, Jones is here.
Oh, Trustee Jones, I apologize. Trustee Jones is here. Trustee Abraham.
Here.
Mayor Thompson.
Hello?
Barely here.
Trustee Senior.
Here.
Trustee Tierney is absent. He did call in and will not be attending tonight's meeting. And Trustee Horn. Trustee Horn.
I'm here.
All right, thank you. Madam President, we do have a quorum.
Thank you.
Can we all stand or be seated for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
To
to the flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank
We
you
ask
all.
everyone to mute their sound because we're getting feedback. And so if you can mute, and when we get to you, if you have to speak, to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Can we all now pause for a moment of silence? Thank you. Next is item 2, public comment. Normally we would take public comment. At this time, we have not received any public comment to the clerk's email prior to 6 o'clock. We actually didn't receive any at all. So we'll move right along to number 3, communications. We have gone all year talking about the census, promoting the census, and we have gotten a pretty decent self-response here in Broadview. Currently, we stand at 67.6%, and we have had various events to promote, and we're climbing up very slowly. And with COVID, of course, our progress has been slowed, but we're still making headway, and we still sit 7th within the Proviso Township towns in rank for self-response. We will continue to keep you informed on upcoming events. We urge anyone that has not taken the census yet to please visit www.2020census.gov and complete yours ASAP. Thank you, Madam President. Next is item 4, consideration to approve the following minutes, which we have none. Then 5, consideration to approve expenditures, grand total of all funds, $584,209.43.
Motion to approve. Did you hear
Second.
me?
Improperly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Miller. Madam President.
Thank you. I know the bills were sent electronic to you all. So Trustee Horn, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Trustee Senior?
No, I do not.
Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
Trustee Jones?
Nothing.
Trustee Miller?
Are we going to read the warrant list?
Thank you. Trustee Abraham, will you please read the warrant list?
Yes, Madam Mayor, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency, $167,365.14. Groot Incorporated, $41,960.97. Edwin Hancock Engineering, $48,766.30. EJ Equipment, $5,073.47. Lincoln National Life Insurance, $7,544.65. J&H Property Management, $259,000. Montana and Welch LLC, $3,093.35. Subsurface Solutions, $10,065.67. Village of Maywood, $3,000. West County Solid Waste Agency, $10,861.42. Total expenditures over 2,500 is $556,730.97. Our total expenditures is $584,209.43. Percentage of total is 95%. We do have electronic payment vendor, Chase credit card payments as of 4/25/20 in the amount of $5,407.73. The funds that will be affected are general fund, $42,511.07. Garbage fund, $52,822.39. Roosevelt Road TIF fund, $262,093.35. 17th Avenue TIF North, $572. Capital Projects Fund, $26,051.30. Water and Sewage Fund, $200,159,000.32. The grand total is $584,209.43. That's the end of my report, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Miller, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Jones, Trustee Jones?
No,
Okay. Trustee Abraham?
I was muted.
Yes.
Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Tierney is absent. Trustee Horn?
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 4-1. Thank you.
Okay.
Next item is item 6, old business. Item A, a presentation and motion related to Miss Kim project by Montana and Roach.
Thank you. So I'm going to ask Dave to talk about that, but in the payables, we had it a reimbursement based off the TIF project on for the Miss Kim project. So Dave, you want to give them some updates on as it relates to the Miss Kim project and the reimbursement?
Am I unmuted? Can everybody hear me? Okay, as it relates to Ms. Kim's project, per our agreement, she was supposed, our TIF agreement dated back 2017, June of, I think it was June 13th, 2017. She was supposed to be substantially completed. She is actually completed with the project, and she is due a reimbursement up to $300,000. I submitted a check request, and attached to the check request were her sign affidavit stating that she was completed and had paid everybody. She did not receive the 300 because she was not substantially complete within a certain amount of time. I subtracted those days out, and that's how I arrived at the $259,000. But as of today, she is completed with the project.
Okay, can you tell us the amount that she got penalized for not completing the project on time?
I can, Mayor. She was penalized $41,000. It was $1,000 a day.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Horn, we need a motion. Well, we don't have to motion, it's just a conversation. We already approved it with the bills, but did you have any questions or comments, Trustee Horn?
No.
Trustee Senior?
I had to unmute myself. No, I don't. Thank you.
Trustee Abraham?
No.
Trustee Jones?
This will be the final payment to Ms. Kim, is my understanding.
Yes.
Okay, and that'll close out that entire deal.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, Trustee Miller?
So just for A point of clarity, Ms. Kim's project probably doesn't mean a lot to a lot of residents in Broadview. So can we have a conversation on what Ms. Kim's project is, where, what it does? Just give a little bit more insight on that.
Yes, Ms. Kim's, we started a discussion with Ms. Kim back in 2017 regarding the development of 17th in Roosevelt. That would be the northwest corner, right next to the Blue Note. Currently, there's a new development there that has been completed by Ms. Kim. It's going to be a restaurant, an Italian restaurant. She already has a lease, and that should be taking place shortly. The only reason it has not taken place up to date is because of the COVID-19, but everything was in place in terms of the tenant to take over the property and to open up the restaurant. And so again, it's on 17th and Roosevelt, northwest corner, next to the Blue Note.
A point of order, Mayor. Mayor.
Yes.
The discussions with Ms. Kim started prior to 2017. The discussions about that development, I just wanted to make sure that they let everyone know, started at the time that Ms. Kim actually purchased the property prior to the demolition and the removal of the oil tanks from below ground. So the development and the concept was discussed all the way back as far as 2015, right after she bought that building. So, you know, the discussions of exactly what it was going to look like may have started in 17, but the general plan had already started in 15 prior to the demolition of the building, which the village assisted in getting that done.
That's it, Trustee Jones?
That's it. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, the new trustees know the whole process of what happened with this TIF development, because it was an old rundown building that actually at one time housed like 5 or 6 different businesses around both sides of the property. And when Ms. Kim purchased the property, she came to the village and asked for our assistance, and we thought it was a great idea, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward to where we are now, but the discussions with what we're going to do with that corner as relates to Ms. Kim and the village and the partnership go all the way back to the end of 2014, beginning of 2015.
Okay, thank you. We thank you for that update. But the TIF agreement didn't actually take place till last year. So when we went into agreement with the Ms. Kim project, that took place in 2019, and now here we are with a completion of a project. But thank you for the update. Mr. Clerk?
Okay, roll call. Trustee Miller.
What are we voting on?
Mr. Clerk, this is just a presentation.
This is
Excuse me, Trustee Jones, we got it.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll move now to number 7, new business. A is an ordinance extending the duration of ordinance number CO-2020-13 for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Make a motion
to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Miller, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President.
Thank you. This is an ordinance to extend the ordinance that was put into place as it relates to emergency powers for the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Trustee Horn, you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Senior?
No.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Trustee Jones?
No.
Trustee Miller?
No questions, but I do have a comment. I just want to say that I'm grateful for our first line responders on how they've responded to the different situations that we've had, even most recently. Just being out yesterday, seeing the protests and the different looting situations kind of made me a little bit leery with how we were going to handle things in Broadview. So I'm glad to say that our team stepped up, and I appreciate that. And I feel safe in my own community. So thanks.
Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please? Thank you, Trustee Miller.
Yes, you can, Madam President.
Can we ask everybody to please mute their phones until you are able to be spoken to, because we're getting the feedback from the distractions from those that's not muted. Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
All right, Madam President. Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney is absent. Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Thank you. And Madam President, that carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Next is item B, an ordinance authorizing and approving certain regulations related to outdoor seating at restaurants in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to
Motion.
approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Miller, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President.
Thank you. This ordinance is related to outdoor seating. The governor has extended that we can open up the restaurants, those that practice the social distancing, that want to have some outdoor seating. Although we have limited outdoor seating restaurants here in Broadview, we do have a couple that may want to extend their parking areas to that. So we wanted to have that flexibility for those that want to dine outside, the flexibility to do so in the Village of Broadview. Trustee Horn.
Sorry, no questions.
Okay. Trustee Senior.
No questions.
Trustee Abraham.
No questions.
Trustee Jones.
No comment.
Trustee Miller.
So just so that we're clear, before they decide to open up an outdoor dining option, they will come back to the building department to ensure that there's no safety issues, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Miller.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney is absent. Trustee Horn.
Yes.
And Madam President, that carries 5-0. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next item is C, a resolution authorizing and approving the Second Amendment to a certain lease agreement between the Village of Broadview and New Singular Wireless, PCS, LLC, the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
I would like to
Motion
table
to
this.
approve.
Okay, so it's been motion to table. Trustee Miller, correct?
Yes, I would like to table.
Table to the next board meeting?
I need a second on the motion to table. I did hear Trustee Jones with a motion to approve right after Trustee
Yeah,
Miller.
that's okay. I'll rescind my motion to approve. I'll second the table if you need more time. That's fine.
Thank you. So it's been properly motioned by
I second the
Trustee
motion.
Miller and seconded by Trustee Jones to table this. Trustee Miller, when would you like to table this until?
To the next board meeting, June 15th?
Yeah. So this will be tabled till June 15th, next board meeting. I'm going to take a roll call as opposed to an all in favor. So Madam President, when you're ready, let me know.
I'm ready.
All right, Trustee Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yep.
Trustee Abraham,
Yes.
Trustee Senior,
Yes.
Trustee Tierney is absent. Trustee Horn.
Yes.
And Madam President, this carries 5-0 to table to next board meeting, June 15th. Thank you all. Item D, a resolution authorizing and approving amendment number 1 to the license to utilize the village rights of way for the construction, operation, and maintenance of a certain telecommunications system in the Village of Broadview and Level 3 Communications LLC for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
We need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sorry, I was muted.
I think I heard Trustee Abraham make the motion and Trustee Senior second. Am I correct,
Yes.
Madam President?
Mayor,
Discussion.
Yeah, so Director Ames.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Please forgive me and Board of Trustees. So this item, I believe, should be tabled, and I'll tell you why. So we are in the middle, actually, we just had a site visit for the painting of the water tower, the repairs of the water tower. And at that site meeting, we did have a representative from AT&T, and along with Tiffany Jaworski with Delgado Law Group, finding that we have some convoluted agreements that may or may not be in play. And I know that Tiffany has been gracious enough to try and run that down here in the next couple of days. But until we can fully understand exactly what's going on around the water tower, I would ask that we all table this, that the board table this, Mayor, until probably the next board meeting. I think we will have a better understanding of what it is that can be allowed. I know that they're asking for additional premise space for a generator, and one of the concerns is that we've got an abandoned shelter back there that we're trying to find out whether or not it's Nextel or Sprint, and some other site confinements. So that's what I have about that.
Madam Mayor,
Yeah.
since our director Ames is suggesting us for the next board meeting, that's fine. I'll go ahead and ask for a table, to make a motion to table it then.
And I'll,
Second.
And I'll second it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, trustees. It's been, the original motion has been rescinded, and motion to table by trustee Abraham and seconded by trustee Jones. I will also like to take a roll call for this vote as well, Madam President. Is that okay?
Thank you.
All right. Trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Abraham,
Yes,
trustee Senior,
yes.
trustee Tierney is absent, and trustee Horn.
Yes.
And this carries 5-0 to table until next board meeting, June 15th. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next is item E, a resolution of the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois, supporting a Class 6B real estate tax assessment renewal application by Welbeck 3 Broadview 2001 LLC for an industrial facility located at 2001 West 16th Avenue.
motion to approve.
Second,
A properly motion by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Senior. Madam President.
Thank you. So this is a resolution to support a Class 6 retail tax assessment. It's a renewal. So they have already had a 6B in the past, and they're asking for a renewal of this particular 6B. So I had Tom and Tim do some legwork to give us the numbers on what that would look like for it, and I'm in support of it. But I'm going to leave the floor to David Upshaw to explain to us what this 6B means. I've also asked Dave to invite George Cebulia to be a part of this meeting, which he's on the call now, to explain and to ask for the 6B. So Dave, you want to take it from here?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
On the call, I believe we have Mr. George Sabula. I think we have his daughter Erin and counsel Mark Rogers for them. As it relates to the 6B, they already have a 6B for this particular property, and this is a renewal. Classic Color is a business located in Broadview, and they are, my understanding, and George will be able to speak to this, or Aaron, is that they are doing very well. Their corporate headquarters is right here located on 25th. They have expanded and moved over on 16th Street. Their ultimate goal initially is lease, but the ultimate goal is to purchase the property, and the 6B would allow them to do that. As you look at this agreement, I think it's on page 2, you can see what the taxes would be. 50% of that would be coming back to the village over the term of the term of the 6B period. George, would you like to comment on that, or Aaron? Mark?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, David. Classic Color has been in Broadview for 15 or 17 years. They employ approximately 100 people. They wished to expand. They have a very good business in the printing industry, which is unusual because printing has actually gone down in the last 15 to 20 years because of social media and the internet, and they are one of the survivors. They print high-end catalogs for Cadillac and Jaguar. They print inserts into fashion magazines. So they're unique in that they're thriving in what's, a contracting business. They are West Side people. They grew up in Oak Park. Again, they've worked here for a long time. They have about 100 employees. They, about 2 years ago, needed expansion. They were considering moving to either Wisconsin or Indiana, but they like Broadview. They would like to stay here if they could. The taxes bothered them because right now they're paying some substantial taxes over on 25th Avenue. We got them to lease the space subject to us getting a 6B. They, Classic Color, have their lease ends December of this year, 2020. However, if through an incentive we can get this 6B, they are obligated to stay in Broadview in the 16th Avenue building through 2023, and hopefully thereafter can buy the building from us and keep these jobs and expand jobs in Broadview. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So then I'm gonna turn it over to the village board. Trustee Horn, do you have any questions?
So my understanding of a Class 6B is that it will freeze the property taxes for the business.
So it's a little bit different. What it does is it lowers the level of assessment on a property from 25% to 10%. So if a building's worth $1 million, at 25% it has an assessment of $250,000. At 10% it has an assessment of $100,000. So the numbers can still fluctuate, but they are much lower than they would be without the 6B.
Considering that the assessment of the property is reduced, the amount of the taxes paid to the village for that building is then reduced. Is that a correct statement?
Correct.
Considering that it's a renewal, which means they already had it in place, can you help me understand why they would need to do it again?
Sure. So Classic Color, I believe, just took occupancy in 2018. Is that right, Aaron?
No, they took occupancy June 1st of 2019.
I apologize.
Building was vacant from March 31st, 2018 until that point in time. We had some difficulty with attracting tenants to stay in. I'm sorry to back up. I think Strike Force Bowling was in there for about 10 years. We had difficulty attracting new tenants because tenants knew that the original 6B was about to burn off and taxes were going from about $1 a square foot to would be like $2.70 a square foot once the 12th year of the 6B was gone, which is why we talked to Classic Color about renting from us on a short-term basis for about 1.5 years from June 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020, with the condition their lease would go longer if we were able to secure 6B for them by the end of this month, June 2020. And if we can't, then they have the option, or not the option, their lease is terminated at the end of this year. And I think I've been in communication with the tenants the last couple of weeks as we knew we were progressing to get on your board meeting. They're anxious because their equipment is costly and hard to set up. They've been doing some sorting and some finishing work in the 16th Street building. But in terms of really making the investment of setting up their machinery permanently long-term, they don't want to do that if there's a possibility they're going to move out at the end of the year.
Okay, I understand that rationale. So I'll just make this statement. The idea that Broadview will now be in a position where we receive even less money when it comes to property taxes is an issue. considering a budget was already passed with a negative balance, and now the source of our revenue is now going down even further, considering the pandemic and all the other issues that are taking place, it doesn't seem like it would be a wise decision to say yes for a 6B renewal. It puts us in an even more detrimental state financially. So I don't think that's a wise decision, but that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee senior.
I was muted. No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, trustee Abraham.
I understand trustee Horn's comment about the budget and everything, and I'm sure, I think you said it last time, Madam Mayor, that you did take into all things considering and reviewing everything financially for the village. If the businesses want to expand or stay in, I think we need to do as much as we can to keep the business district, industrial community, still here and alive and being able to function. So, if we have to, do the 6B to help them out, I see there's a need. They've been here, so I'm supporting it. That's my comment, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Jones?
Okay, I have a couple of things. The first one is over the life of this 6B, 12 years, what is the dollar amount of the savings in taxes that they will incur? Did anybody in finance run the numbers to say exactly what that number is?
I believe this is Mark Rogers from Liston and Centillus. I believe I do have those numbers. It's speculative, just with the reassessments and tax rate increases, but I believe I can pull that up. So let me look.
Mark, if you don't have it, I do have it.
Okay. I'll let David continue just while I get this up then. Thank you.
It was going to be $224,062.22. In the past,
That's the
that would be the savings. That's how much they would be saving over the term. In the past, when 6Bs were issued by the village of Broadview, they were issued and we got nothing. We received no tax consideration at all. As it relates to Classic Color and Darwin Realty, who has been a great partners here in the village of Broadview, we started this discussion actually back in 2019 with the mayor's office. This is not an easy decision, and we're just now addressing it in June. The initial discussions and conversations were everybody was looking to make a decision back in January, and we could not do that because we didn't feel we had the proper information, and I had to do extensive research and work with counsel in the finance department. And so with this particular agreement, of the 224,000, 50% of that is coming back to the village, Trustee Jones. So that would equate to like 11,000 something a year over the term.
Okay. Well, you're getting to the crux of my question. The actual tax reduction they're going to get is going to be just short of $250,000. Of that $250,000 tax reduction, we're going to get the money back, a portion of that back to the village. In what form?
What do you mean, what form? I mean, we're going to get.
Is it going to be cash? Is it going to be cash? Are they going to write us a check? I mean,
yeah, it's going to be paid. It's going to. So, not to interrupt you, to answer your question, we're going to get 50% of that, which approximately is $113,000, and it will be in the form of a check over the 6B term, 11,000, and I mean I can give you the exact numbers. I can calculate it out, but it's like $11,000 per year.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Upshaw. I get that. That was the answer I was looking for. So that leads me to the next question. What if Classic Color in 2023 decides to leave? What happens then? What happens as it relates to the 6B, any money that may be realized in savings, and any dollar amount that may be returned to the village and sharing whatever the agreement is? If Classic Color decides to leave anyway, and the building ultimately ends up being vacant, then what? do we have a contingency for that? Has anybody talked about that?
Well, it is part of this agreement, and Darwin Realty owns the property. Darwin Realty owns.
So the question,
they haven't.
The question. Excuse me, Commissioner. I don't mean to cut you off, but I got you. The question I guess I'm getting at is, regardless of whether Classic Color is there, there's going to be $250,000 in savings. If they decide to leave, does that impact the village's end of the savings?
It does, but per our agreement, and I don't know if you have it in front of you, but I think it's on page 2, we can rescind the 6B.
And just to jump in very quickly, if the property does go vacant, the Cook County assessor will pull the 6B as well.
And that's on page 2 in section 3 for those of you, if you have the agreement in front of you.
Thank you, Mr. Upshaw. That completes my question.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Jones. Trustee Miller?
So I, in turn, share the same feelings, I think, as Trustee Horn. Right now, we're sitting in a crisis where we shouldn't be giving out anything additional. However, I do feel like we need to keep as many businesses in the community as possible. But one part of me feels like, well, this one was a threat to say, well, they're probably going to leave if we don't grant the 6B. I'm really torn about this one. After 12 years of having a 6B in the first place, to extend it a little bit longer makes me feel like somewhere there was a disconnect in keeping it and making it viable for use for 12 years. And I heard someone say if the property goes vacant, that the Cook County assessor can, I guess, suspend the 6B privilege as well, but they didn't do it when it was vacant for a year. So I'm not good on this one either.
Well, can I say this? For 12 years, Strike Force was in that property. So that and Classic Color is a different tenant. So
I get it, but
okay,
the property owner still got the 6B for 12 years, correct?
That is correct.
Regardless of who the tenant was.
That's correct.
And just to just one statement. I do understand Trustee Horn Miller's concerns, but when the property, if it does go vacant without any 6B, that lowers the building assessment by 20%. So if Classic Color does vacate, there's no 6B and there's a very large vacancy reduction to the property. So I've ran my own numbers based on what the property would be assessed at with the 6B versus what it would be assessed at without the 6B and no improvements. And it is a positive number. I'm getting about 185,000 net taxes to the village over 12 years, and I can share that with you guys if you want. But we also have to take in consideration sales tax they generate, the money generated by the employees. So it's not just all property taxes, but I certainly understand your concern.
Thank you. So I'm going to have either Tim or Tom chime in because we did do some extensive research as it relates to the finances and what that would look like for the Village of Broadview. And most certainly, as we talk about property taxes and all those other things, we have to consider the other factors that go into play with this. And when we looked at our budget as it relates to the recent pandemic and how we look at our future revenues and going forward, that was a great concern of mine as well, because we have to look at it from a budget perspective, but talking to the finance team, they kind of put things in perspective. So I don't know if Tom want to explain it or Tim want to explain it, but will you explain to the trustees how this was considered in our budget for this year to consider this particular 6B and what it means over the years?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. What I wanted to point out here is being a renewal is it's not going to cause a reduction. It's going to keep it basically going on at the current level. The way I look at this whole thing is kind of an insurance policy to maintain what we're currently receiving and get a little bit additional in the future because they're going to share the savings with us. So from Ms. Horn's standpoint, if we let it expire, the taxes would go up initially. But if the owner was unable to locate a tenant and it went into a empty status, the county would then reassess it, and it could drop the property taxes at significantly from what the current level is. So what I'm looking at this is kind of like an insurance policy to get a known company into the building that has been here for years and has been successful, and there's reason to believe that they will be able to still continue to be successful and occupy this property and ensure that we're going to get continuing cash flow over the next 12 years. Any questions?
Madam Mayor, can I make a positive spin on this? Ms. Warren, I understand your concern, and we are no way threatening these move out. This is a positive spin. The people that were here before, Strike Force Bowling, the village induced them to come to Broadview 12, 13 years ago. They had maybe 20 employees, and they came here, they were considering going, everybody says they're looking at Wisconsin and Illinois, but these guys were going to go to Cicero. But we convinced them to come to Broadview with the incentive, and Strike Force actually grew so much that they had about 60 employees when they left, and they had a great business. They needed 100,000 square feet. They wanted to stay in Broadview, but there were no, they were going to grow from 53,000 square feet to 100,000 square feet. We could not find them a place in Broadview. They wound up going next door to Melrose Park, and they now have 80 or 90 employees. So these incentives do help these companies get going and expand. Creative Color is not a warehousing operation. Many times, Creative Color, I think, has about 60,000 square feet over on 25th Avenue. They have 100 employees in there. That's a lot. This is not like giving a 6B or incentivizing some warehouse that has 100,000 square feet, but only 15 or 20 employees. These are 100 employees that are all making $20, $22, $23 per hour. And when Classic Color sets up the machinery in the 16th Street building, they could have another 50 employees there for a long time to come. So these incentives do work, and they do help the companies grow. And Broadview has been instrumental in getting Classic Color to grow, and they were very instrumental in getting Strike Force to grow to where they actually couldn't find space, and they would have liked to stay in Broadview. So, Ms. Horn, I want to put a positive spin on it. It's not a threat that they move, but the reality of the situation in the 50 years I've been in this business, some people do move. They do go to Indiana. They do go to Wisconsin. We are very fortunate in Broadview that, okay, the taxes might be a little bit higher, but it's a great place for labor. It's a great place for location, getting things shipped out, and people like to be here. But the reality is that sometimes they do move, and they do consider these incentives, and they really have been positive in the past. Thank you all very much.
So let me just say this one thing as it relates to when we talk about having employees working in the village of Broadview. So when we look at that, we have to really look at the big picture. And the big picture is those employees shop in the village of Broadview. So they shop at our local restaurants for lunchtime. They shop at our shopping center. And so they feed back into the community. And when we take out employment opportunities, and a lot of the employees, I don't know what the numbers are as it relates to how many local employees we actually have that works at this location that's either a resident or a resident of our township. I don't know what those numbers look like, but most people work close to home and they like that. But we got to look at the big picture when we look at these opportunities. Is it a good fit for Broadview? And the fit is, they eat here during lunchtime or during their shifts, and they shop here. And they shop in our shopping center. And so it's not just about the reduction of the property taxes, but it's also the opportunity for us to generate sales tax revenue as well. So I know Trustee Horn wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just have just two quick comments. One is I think I heard, if I didn't hear correctly, please correct me, but what I think I heard was that the businesses were successful. So if the businesses were successful, can you help me understand again why they would need a 6B? Success in my head would tell me that they are successful, that they are making a profit, that they're running their business successfully, that they're in the plus. So then why would they need this type of incentive that could potentially make us go even more red? Then my second comment is, considering the type of business it is, I would assume that the money is going to be used, it seems like it's going to be used or it's being treated almost like being used for capital or upfront costs, because you're going to pay half of it back over time. Is that how the logic is being used, or is that the understanding? I'm asking somebody, Mr. Rogers.
I'm the attorney as well too, but I think it's part of, like Mr. Cibola was explaining, that you know, they're trying to grow further. An opportunity to grow with Broadview and develop with Broadview and bring in additional jobs to Broadview. I guess the other component that I guess kind of is that we're going to be bringing in almost $80,000 additional sales tax a year to Broadview. You know,
so that's my point. Your projections seem extremely positive. So then why would you need this type of, why would you need this?
well,
why would you need this?
We can invest back into the building. We can invest back into our employees and make it grow. Okay, that's
so.
Okay, so we're trying to grow with Broadview. You know, we're trying to shop in Broadview. We're trying to hire in Broadview. You know, all this synergy is so important on these incentives. Okay, and I think that it has to be looked into as a totality of the circumstances on each individual topic. And, you know, they want to be here. We want them to be here. We want them to grow. We want them to hire. We want them to shop, and we want to produce that sales tax. And I think it's a perfect storm for Broadview to grow, perfect storm for Broadview to get more taxes, and a perfect storm to provide the incentive. And that's the spirit of the incentive.
Well, and I think Tom made a very good point that this is a form of insurance in that we don't want to take the risk that they do move out at the end of 2020. You know, the economy was going really well in January and February. And like Tom says, this is an insurance policy that Creative Color is positively created to committed to Broadview through 2023.
Have they considered?
They have right.
One of the things I want to mention
at the end of 2020.
So one of the things I want to mention is that this allows the village to be competitive with our neighbors. So when you have a business that, like you said, the business is being successful, the business is thriving, we want the business to continue to thrive. We want the business to continue to grow. And you offer this competitive advantage over our the adjacent communities so that the business can continue to pour money back into the business to invest and expand. And now you have a greater, you talked about the business already talked about making an expansion of their business, which means more employees, which means more revenue generated, which means more income flowing back into the community. That's why you do it. That's why, even though the business is successful, you want them to leverage that success to be able to expand. And
so let me ask you a quick question. I think that's a good response. Thank you. Let me just ask this one last question. I think I'll be done. Has the business considered a capital loan to help with the cost of their employees and some other investments that they need to make versus passing the cost on to us? They can take out a business loan to help their business and sustain it over time and then pay the bank back.
I don't know the answer to that.
Maybe we should consider that before we take on the risk and slight ourselves of additional taxes that we need.
We're not taking on risk. We already have this embedded in the budget. This is already a continuation.
Our budget is negative, Director Hicks.
It is not negative. So if you already take this into consideration, that these are property taxes that will stay constant, they're not declining. So that's what, in a business, and to be able to leverage what we have and what we're offering to a business, you don't want them to take on additional debt that they have to, because that doesn't allow them. This is an incentive that they take on additional debt. Is in it for the village of Broadview? There's nothing that we get back from the business if they go out and take a loan, as opposed to partnering with the business, leveraging the legislation that's available so that we can both. It's a win-win situation for the village and for the business.
So I want to jump in, even though I think we've all had our chance to answer or ask questions. I appreciate you, Director Hicks, for attempting to give us an explanation on it. I'm still not convinced. I would appreciate it if we could table this so that each of us can have a discussion. I do want to have a discussion about this particular item, because I don't want to keep exposing ourselves, and not just for this particular issue, but the next company that needs a 6B and the next one that needs a 6B, and we just keep extending them, and we'll never get ourselves out of that whole tax incentive discount program, whatever we're calling this. And the partnership, yes, we want to retain as many businesses as possible, but not at the expense of us not vetting out all options.
There's nothing.
So,
we're not
I don't want to have a dissertation about it right now. So I'm saying, if
Madam President,
I'm not voting for it. I would rather table.
Hold on. So Trustee Miller, I respect that, and I think we probably should table the conversation so that those trustees that want to have that due diligence to educate themselves on how the program works with the 6B, instead of going to a roll call vote, I think I would.
May I make one comment before you go to the table? I just got a couple of things I want to get clarified before we stop the discussion.
Go ahead.
Is that possible? Point of order. The first thing is the 6B in and of itself at this time, and I'm talking to the attorney right now. The 6B in and of itself right now goes to the property and the property owner, not the company that's renting. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The 6B goes with the building.
That's how it's defaulted. Yes.
Okay, so we're not giving the 6B to the company that's doing well at this time.
Well,
however,
however,
I'm getting to that. However, as a tenant and them with the potential option to buy, this would incentivize them to make the purchase, because they're going to also have a 6B that will go along with the purchase. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm a proponent for 6Bs, and for the very reasons that the mayor has stated and some of you have so eloquently stated. The village of Broadview has the luxury, and it's truly a luxury compared to some of our neighboring towns, that we have a huge industrial park that foots a lot of our property tax bills. So, 6Bs are good in some cases they're not. But in this particular case, I can understand everybody's side of the argument, and if they want to table it, that's great. But I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that the 6B is with the building, and it's an incentive to keep a business in town that's leaving from one location to another, as opposed to losing the business altogether. And if the 6B is already in place, it's not going to have a direct impact on the other taxing entities in town at this time, because it's already there. We've been living with it for 12 years already. So, but that's my comment, Madam President. But I will support my board members if they want to table it for further discussion down the road. That's great. But I've been going back and forth on this thing, for a while, because I know people ask for the extensions on the 6Bs and renewals and all that other stuff. But if you're going to keep up business and 55,000 square feet, as opposed to a vacant building, I'm all for it. But that's my 2 cents, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion to table. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
I don't believe we have a second to that motion, Madam President.
Second.
Who was that?
Verena Horn.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me record all of this.
Yeah, just for clarity, I just want to table it to the next board meeting, June 15th.
Gotcha, trustee Miller. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to table until the next board meeting, June 15th, made by trustee Miller, seconded by trustee Horn. Roll call. Trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Jones,
Aye.
trustee Abraham,
Yes.
trustee Senior,
Yes.
trustee Tierney is absent, trustee Horn.
Yes.
Madam President, this carries 5-0 to table until next board meeting, June 15th. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item is item 9, application for the authority to expend funds. We have none, which brings us to item 10, village clerk's report. I only had one quick thing. I wanted to thank all of the participants and volunteers from our recent event this past Saturday. Broadview kicked off the Proviso 2020 completion tour for the census over at Roosevelt School, 1927 West 15th Avenue. And that was from 10 to 12. We gave away PPE items, gloves, masks, hand sanitizer, as well as fresh fruit and vegetables. It was a nice day. It was a good turnout. We could have had an even bigger turnout, but we have 9 more events that we will be handling each weekend, Saturday and Sunday, for the next couple of months, the rest of the summer, actually. And I'm hoping that if you haven't had a chance to get PPE that you need, face masks, etc., you can come out to one of the events. We'll advertise on Facebook as well as the village website. And that concludes the clerk's report, Madam President. Next is item 11, Village President, Mayor Katrina Thompson.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just a few things to highlight some things that have taken place within the last 10 days since we've last met. First, I want to acknowledge that we are in a crisis as it relates to racism in America, and we cannot no longer ignore the issues that's at hand as it relates to African Americans and law enforcement. So it's been very challenging the last couple of days, and I just really have to just commend our police and our fire department. Yesterday, when we got word that potential protesters were coming into the village of Broadview, Chief Uglin and I immediately started strategizing and putting best practices in place to keep the residents and our local business stakeholders safe. And I have to say this publicly because a lot of people need to know this. The police department that we have here in the village of Broadview, I would stand them up next to anybody. They are so commendable. Chief Uglin did not have to call one officer in to come to show up for work. They volunteered and they called him to show up. So thank you, Chief Uglin, for your staff. As we shut down the village shopping center yesterday, the fire department stepped up right away and started putting things in place to block off entrances, to keep people out of the shopping center, to protect the businesses there. And I have to commend Director Ames and his department. When the calls came in at the department head levels, Public Works immediately stepped in and started putting out the horses at the businesses to protect our businesses. So we've been working probably nonstop the last 24 hours. And so we have to get through this evening as well. But we just want to recognize that we do have some issues that we have to address. And a lot of them are near and dear to my heart because I am a youth advocate. I mentor a lot of kids that come from troubled backgrounds. And so that's very near and dear to my heart as we look at what's taking place with the riots and stuff. I don't agree or condone the looting or the stealing. I think that's just unacceptable behavior, but I understand the anger and the frustration that's taking place in Black America as well. And I am a Black woman, I'm a Black mother, I'm a Black auntie, I'm a Black mayor. And I will stand on those principles of making sure that justice is in the forefront as it relates to how we interact with law enforcement and how we address these types of issues. So we will continue to monitor the situation. We've been very fortunate in the village of Broadview. No immediate protests here in the village, but we are monitoring some things. We've been alert on some things with as it relates to potential activity taking place, but that has not developed. So it's just been, the last 24 hours for me has been truly exhausting. I am a Riot product. I grew up in Inglewood, California, and I was a part of the '92 riots with the Rodney King verdict when the verdict came down. So it brought up a lot of flashback and memories for me as it relates to the rioting, the looting, the National Guard coming into town and coming in and the curfews and stuff. So it's like history repeated itself. And my daughter is 21 and I was actually 21 the exact same time around this time when that took place. So it's frustrating. And then listening to her speak and address some of the things that she's notices, you know, she's a voter in every election. And the first thing she said was, none of our officials that she voted for is actually stepping up and saying anything through the social media outlets, because they're young people, that's what they do, social media. So just hearing her voice her concerns, and it really hit home for me today. So it's been real taxing as it relates to this, but I just pray that everyone is well and be safe. We are Broadview strong. We look out for one another. I got the businesses calling me, asking me, you know, questions on how things are being handled. They're actually happy with how the police and fire department and public works are handling things for them. So I'm grateful that we do have the leadership in place to make positive things happen for Broadview to protect our community. But I also want to remind the community that we are not out of COVID-19. We are still in a pandemic. And so when you look at the large crowds, we see large crowds that's not practicing the social distancing that we've been talking about for the last 2 months to get us back open. People are not wearing the face mask. So it's very challenging for us. And I don't want us to regress to back where we started when the pandemic first started and we shut down. And so when businesses shut down, they're not making money. The employees are not working. People, you know, people are hurting. And so we have to be conscious and wise in the decisions that we make. So those young people that's out looting and stealing and, you know, being defiant, I'm begging you to please go home so that we can open up our economy safe, that you're out of harm's way, that you don't get sick or you don't take the illness back to a loved one, your grandmother, your mom, or anybody that have any lying health conditions. You know, the pandemic still exists and it's still out here. So we have to, you know, be cautious with that. Class of 2020. So the last 5 days have been very, very busy for me and exciting too. So I have a lot of good news as it relates to the 2020 class of 2020. I'm very excited for our community and our graduates. We started off with the kickoff with the parade with Lindop School, where they went through every block in that district to end their school year. And I must say, looking at the children and the family faces, I was quite pleased. The children was happy to see the teachers. They were waving. It was exciting. It was a beautiful day. And then we fast forward, I hosted with the McDonald's in the Village Square. We hosted 8th grade graduation for the 8th grade residents throughout the village. In Broadview, we had a drive-through graduation on Thursday, and it was such a success. It was just beautiful, and we invited all of our school districts. We had Lindop School District 92. We had Urban School District 89, which is a Maywood, Broadview, Melrose Park District. We had District 88, which is Bellwood School District, and we had District 94, which is North Riverside, which our students attend these schools. And it was a really nice event. Trustee Miller and Trustee Senior showed up based off what we had sent out. So I just thank the elected officials for participating. And then Friday, Lindop actually had their virtual graduation. And I must say it's just different when you don't see the kids actually crossing the stage. So to do the virtual graduation, it was really nice. And it was touching when you hear the parents talk about how well the teachers did and during this pandemic and some of the trying times that they actually had and just how proud they are of their kids making this milestone. And we in the village of Broadview just want to say we have good partners and good relationships. Mullen Foods was actually at the 8th grade graduation at the drive-through. And then Saturday, Comaric School District 94 graduated, but they did a parade through North Riverside and they ended up at a park, and the kids actually had to stay in a vehicle and come up to receive their diploma, practicing the social distancing and wearing the face mask. And so it was really nice how they highlighted their young people graduating from 8th grade. And then on Sunday, the 2100 block of 22nd had graduation, which people just got real creative. And we have some creative minds in Broadview. So the young people that live on that block, they actually did a graduation ceremony where they played the graduation music. The kids walked the block to receive their diploma from the block. The fire department showed up, the police department showed up, as well as myself to support our young people. And on that block, we had high school graduates as well as the 8th graders. So I was real pleased just to hear the young people talk about their aspirations and their dreams, even in the pandemic. I'm just excited for our kids. I mean, they are growing in leaps and bounds. And Saturday, well, I think it was Saturday, Trustee Miller and I, we actually went to, because we wanted to highlight all of our graduates, whether you graduated from 8th grade, senior in high school, or college graduate. We just wanted to highlight the graduates because it's different for them. They don't have these opportunities at their level of graduation. And we visited probably close to 30 homes personally, going to these residents to congratulate them. And when you hear the stories of, we have young people that's graduating from law school, that's excited about what their future hold. When you see our young people graduating from Fisk University and they looking for internships in accounting, you know, these are the kids that we really want to get behind and encourage them and inspire them to put them in position to enhance their life skills. And so talking to the high school students, a lot of them are going away to college, but we do have some that stand at home, and those that stand at home that will be attending the Triton College, you know, we asking them to, you know, make sure you apply for the scholarships. I have a scholarship, the Mayor Katrina Thompson Scholarship at Triton, where our students that live in Broadview can apply for these scholarships to be able to go to school. So these are some of the things that's taking place as it relates to youth development and youth mentorship. And I'm just excited that I have someone that's on the board that have the same passion as me as it relates to our young people and getting them engaged and participating. So I'm gonna yield the floor to Trustee Miller because I asked her to highlight some of the people that was on her block that kind of coordinated this graduation and kind of talk about that. It was really, really nice.
I'm sorry, I totally forgot, but it was a good weekend overall, you know, outside of everything else that was going on. So I thank you, Mayor Thompson, for including me in when I first set out to run in the political arena. Literally, I ran because I wanted something different for my kids and the youth on my block. So it just transitioned over to the new block that I'm on. And we got postcards in our mail from one of our residents. Her name is Andrina Logan, I believe. And her husband were like trying to do something special for the kids in the neighborhood and just to change the perception that nobody cares about them graduating. So they literally, everybody on our block decorated their yards with graduation decorations, and we all came outside. We had the fire department and the police department kind of sound the alarm to let everyone know, hey, it's 12 o'clock. Come to the door, cheer these graduates on. And they had a small ceremony. I appreciate Mayor Thompson for stopping by. She gave a speech to the graduates as well. And one of the graduates even pitched that he's starting a new business. He's doing some bleacher seats that he's trying to promote. I guess they won a contest for it, a social media contest. So I'm waiting on him to get us all the information, and I'll share with all the trustees as well. We have some young people in our community that are trying to do great things. Like literally, we were talking to every graduate on Saturday, and all of them seemed to have something planned for their next step in life. And that made me feel like we had accomplished something in our village. So thank you for that. And I thank all my residents on my block, the 2100 block of South 22nd, because we have big things going on happening. So thank you.
Thank you. So with that being said, I'm like I said, I just really appreciate the hard work that Public Works, our police department, and our fire department do for the village of Broadview. We work extremely hard. And obviously, you know, sometimes we see things a little bit different as it relates to how we move the village forward, but I stand on my position on things that's the right thing to do. We will continue to do the right thing and make good decisions. And I did hear in conversation that our budget was in the negative, and that's furthest from the truth. So if it's anything that you guys would like to address, you can always call our budget officer, Tom Hood, to address your concerns, or our finance director, Tim Hicks, as they put a budget together that's solid for the village of Broadview that I'm very proud of. Those trustees that did approve the budget passed a budget that we can live with and that we can work with. And with that being said, I want to say good night and God bless you. And Mr. Clerk, can we get an adjournment?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Miller. All in favor to adjourn, say aye.
You got to do a roll call. You
We're
got to do
going to do a roll call to adjourn. I apologize, Mayor. This vote will be to adjourn the meeting. Trustee Miller,
Yes.
trustee Jones,
Left.
okay, I think trustee Jones has vacated. Trustee Abraham,
Yes.
trustee Senior,
Yes.
trustee Tierney is absent, and trustee Horn.
Yes.
Madam President, we are hereby adjourned at 8:40 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Have a good night. Thank you, George and Aaron and Mark Rogers.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Good night.